Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video on my channel Hairliciously. In today's video, I wanted to give you guys a big update on Kintor Pharma's KX826. As most of you guys already know, KX826, also known as Pyrilutamide, is an androgen receptor antagonist that is used to treat androgen alopecia. It is one of the strongest anti-androgens available without the detrimental side effects that can affect the hormonal profile. And if you compare with something like RU584-1, Pyrilutamide is actually about 4 times stronger than RU in terms of binding affinity. And one of the main reasons why I have continued to use Pyrilutamide into my hair loss treatment regimen for the past couple of years is because not only does it work in a different mechanism of action compared to 5-AR inhibitors, but also, more importantly, it has a higher binding affinity than DHT. And it cannot compete it, unlike RU, which has a similar binding affinity to that of testosterone. So previously, a lot of people were disappointed with phase 3 clinical trials of Pyrilutamide because despite it demonstrating an excellent safety profile and no serious adverse side effects after 24 weeks of treatment, compared with placebo, there was a total area hair count improvement in the treatment group, but it was not statistically significant and that a trend in efficacy was observed. Now, this came as a shocker to a lot of people because phase 2 clinical trial results were very promising with a statistically significant increase of over 15 hairs per centimeter squared in total area hair count compared to that of the placebo group with the 0.5% concentration. And so, Kintor realized this discrepancy in their studies and they continued their phase 3 clinical trial for safety, efficacy in an extended 52-week long period for further multiple trials to analyze the results, sort through the statistics, look into possible confoundings during data analysis. And at the very least, Pyrilutamide can still be used as a maintenance drug to prevent further progression of hair loss with the potential of regrowth without any adverse side effects. So, as I've said before, I'm still positive that Pyrilutamide is going to be a solid treatment. And the good news that we recently received a couple weeks ago was through an update on Kintor Pharma's website with an article titled Clinical Trial of KX826, Tincture 1% for the treatment of male AGA in China, received clearance by NMPA. So NMPA is the National Medical Products Administration, which governs and regulates pharmaceuticals, and this is equivalent to the US version of the FDA. And within this article, Kintor announced that the clinical trial of its in-house developed and potential first-in-class KX826, tincture 1% for the treatment of male adult androgen alopecia in China, was cleared by the National Medical Products Administration recently. The clinical trial is aimed to evaluate the efficacy and safety of KX826, tincture 1% for the topical treatment of male adults with androgen alopecia in China. Companies' preclinical studies have shown that KX826 tincture 1% has significantly increased the retention concentration of the tincture on human scalp cells compared to the KX826 tincture 0.5% concentration used in the previous phase 3 clinical trial and is expected to enhance the clinical efficacy. Dr. Tong, the founder, chairman, and CEO of Kintor, said KX826 is one of the core drugs of the group. Since its development, it has completed multiple clinical trials for the treatment of male and female AGA in China and also in the US, which has demonstrated excellent safety profile and efficacy trend. Our company will further explore the value of KX826 for AGA. In the meanwhile, we are also conducting or planning multiple clinical trials of KX826 for the treatment of AGA and acne, continuing to explore the value of KX826 in the field of dermatology. Now, this news was followed by another update from an article dated June 5th titled KX826 received the INCI designation, which stated that its in-house developed KX826 has recently received the International Nomenclature Cosmetic Ingredient Review approval from the International Cosmetic Ingredient Nomenclature Committee. INCI names are systemic names recognized worldwide for the identification of cosmetic ingredients and are cited by product labeling regulations in many countries. The designation would facilitate the global launch of the company's functional cosmetics with KX826 as the main ingredient. First things first, I'd be interested to really see the results of the 1% versus 0.5% because apparently The 1% increased the retention concentration on human scalp cells. So, hopefully this translates to better efficacy and an increase in hair count that is statistically significant compared to the placebo group. I'm not sure when they'll be releasing the results of this study, but I will definitely keep you guys posted because this is something that is important to know and obviously might be a game changer from what we saw from phase 3 clinical trials with the 0.5% concentration. I'm guessing the clinical trial is going to be similar to another 24-week study, just like the previous 0.5% concentration. And so far, the good news is that they received clearance by the NMPA, so they're moving in the right direction, and I'm hopeful to see better efficacy. And from my understanding, this is a separate trial from the ongoing 52-week extended phase 3 clinical trial of the 0.5% concentration. So I will keep you guys posted as soon as I get an update from Kintor. I will say that in phase 3 of the 0.5% concentration study, a trend in efficacy was observed. So it is possible that a higher concentration is going to yield better results over time. Secondly, the news that KX826 received the INCI designation review approval from the International Cosmetic Ingredient Nomenclature Committee is indicative of the possibility of pyrilutamide being released as a cosmetic with pyrilutamide as the main ingredient. Because this is all very recent with no further updates or clarification, my guess is just as good as yours, and that Kintor may commercialize pyrilutamide as a cosmetic first over the counter, since technically they've still completed all 3 phase clinical trials in the US and China. If the 1% tincture is efficacious and statistically significant in terms of total hair count compared to the 0.5% concentration, I feel like Kintor may still have the pharmaceutical route open. This would obviously mean more clinical testing, which can take several years. But all in all, we know that pyrilutamide works. We know that it can still help maintain existing hair as a preventative measure, and that it still showed a trend in efficacy. The fact that it can prevent further hair loss and provide maintenance is still going to be considered a big win in my book. And this is without the obvious adverse side effects. Stacking all treatments with other growth stimulants, 5-AR inhibitors will provide a synergistic effect for the most optimal hair loss prevention protocol. And maybe going the cosmetic route rather than a pharmaceutical route will help speed up the commercialization process because there's going to be less hurdles to go through. But all in all, I think this is still great news, and I'm still very optimistic about pyrilutamide and that it is a great hair loss treatment to stack on as it works in a different mechanism of action. There's already a lot of people that are incorporating the 0.5% concentration of pyrilutamide that have seen some really good results and maintenance. So I look forward to more updates on the direction Kintor will be going, as well as our updates on the 0.1 and 1% concentration treatments. We also know that Kintor Pharmaceutical is very fast with updates. They're on top of things, and they're very timely when it comes to giving us updates on any studies that they've been doing. So with that, that wraps up this video. Let me know in the comments if you have actually seen some good results from using pyrilutamide. I will be very interested to kind of see what your results were. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. That wraps up this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care.